Um, the title of my nugget is, I Like Big Butts. I was taught in one of my speech classes to catch everyone's attention with something at the beginning. So you might not realize it, but there are a lot of big butts in the Bible. And we don't really, I don't think, always pay attention to how significant they are. The words "but God" in the Bible happen over and over and over, and every time you read that, there's always something amazing following those words. I searched online because that's kind of what I do, to find things to support. It makes it easier. Somebody's done this already. So I found a website that somebody went through and picked out a lot of "but God" verses, and there are so many of them, and they are so awesome. So I'm not gonna read all of them. I'm probably not even gonna read the whole thing of all of them, but I wanted to share a few and share my favorite. In Genesis 8, it says, "But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals, and he sent a wind over the earth. He rescued Noah." In Genesis 31:7, it says, "Your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not permit him to harm me." There's a big one in Ephesians. I have to find it here. This one is huge. Ephesians 2, 3 through 5, I think it is. It says, "And you were dead and in the trespasses and sin, and were by nature children of wrath, like the rest of mankind. But God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, has made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved." That's a big one. And then one of my favorite verses, Matthew 19:26, and it's in a couple of the other Gospels similar. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." So in every single circumstance that you have, whether it's good or bad, there's always a "but God." You sometimes have to look for it. And a lot of times when it's a bad circumstance, it's hard to find. And you might need some other people to help remind you about it. But there's always a "but God." And I think it's so funny how when you don't talk to the other people in the services, when you're doing a nugget or a message, it seems like things seem to tie together. God has a theme in mind, I think, a lot. And so when I think of all of these "but God" situations, I think of all the testimonies that I have of things that God has done in my life. Some of them are little, some of them are huge. And I wanted to share one of them that those of you who've heard me talk have definitely heard me say it before, but a lot of the new people haven't, and I wanted to share it because Satan is defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so I think when we share our "but God" stories, we're kicking Satan. And so there were already a few shared this morning, which is really cool. I was going to call and see if anyone else wanted to share one after me, if there's time, if there's anyone who wants to share. But I wanted to share about the biggest one in my life that I can think of is regarding my children. Like I said, most of you have heard this, but I wanted children very badly, and I wasn't having any luck with that at first. It was like 4 years, and I wasn't getting what we were asking for, and that was really difficult. And so I decided that I was going to go seek medical assistance with that, and I did, and it was very expensive. But God found a way to make that happen for us. We were in a study, and it lowered the cost to get this treatment. So God intervened there and made it possible for us to get that. The odds of it working are not really that great, but God stepped in, and in the first try, I was able to get pregnant, and I had Brooklyn as that, and that was awesome. But God wasn't done with me yet. I was told that, without medical treatment, that wasn't going to happen. There wasn't a good chance of it. And a year and a half later, without medical treatment, Cooper surprised us. And so, but God had plans for us, and he gave us Cooper without having to do any more treatments. So we were blessed a lot in that situation and in many others. And so whenever you're feeling down or you feel like your situation is not good, always look for the but God in it. Sometimes even the worst things have something in there that God is using, and sometimes you have to wait for it. If you're not seeing it yet, you can be assured that it's coming. So